Luke Carter had chosen the edge of space because it was quiet. The mining station called Haven Drift floated near a dead moon, far from trade lanes and even farther from war. Most days, Luke repaired drills, patched hull plates, and ignored the galaxy. He liked it that way. Machines were simple. They broke, and he fixed them. People were not simple, and space politics were worse. The station was old, built before Luke was born. Its halls were narrow, its lights dim, and its air always smelled faintly of metal and dust. Only a few dozen people lived there, mostly miners and technicians who wanted to disappear. Luke fit in well. He spoke little, worked hard, and asked no questions. On the day everything changed, Luke was finishing a repair on an outer sensor panel. His boots were locked to the hull as the stars drifted slowly around him. The silence was broken by a sharp alarm in his helmet. Not a station alarm, but a local sensor ping. Something was approaching fast. Luke frowned and pulled up the feed. The signal was weak and unstable, like a ship barely holding together. It was not broadcasting any ID. That alone made his stomach tighten. Unmarked ships near the rim were almost never friendly. He reported the contact to station control, but the response was slow and unsure. Haven Drift did not have defenses worth naming. If trouble came, hiding was the usual plan. The object appeared on visual a moment later. It was small, no bigger than a cargo shuttle, but its hull was torn and burned. Sparks trailed behind it like dying stars. It spun once, then corrected, heading straight for the station. Luke watched as the ship clipped the edge of the docking ring and slammed into an unused bay. The impact shook the station hard enough to rattle his teeth. Before Control could say anything, Luke disengaged his boots and pushed off toward the bay. He did not think much about it. Someone might be alive. And if they were, waiting could mean death. Inside the bay, smoke filled the air. Emergency lights painted everything in red shadows. Luke forced open the bent hatch of the crashed ship using a manual spreader. Heat poured out along with the sharp smell of burned circuits. Inside, he found her. She was not human. That was clear at once. Her skin had a faint silver tone, smooth and unmarked by hair. Her face was close to human, but her eyes were larger and darker, reflecting the light like glass. She was slumped in the pilot seat, breathing, but barely. And in her arms, wrapped tight against her chest, was a baby. Luke froze. His mind struggled to catch up. Aliens were not rare in the wider galaxy, but seeing one here bleeding and broken was something else. Seeing a baby made it worse. The baby was small, smaller than most human newborns, but clearly alive. Its skin was a mix of soft gray and pink. Its eyes were closed and it made a faint sound, more like a vibration than a cry. The alien girl looked up at Luke. Fear filled her eyes, sharp and raw. She tried to speak, but only a weak sound came out. "It's okay," Luke said without thinking. His voice sounded strange in the heavy air. "You're safe. I'm here." He did not know why he said it. He was not sure it was true. He lifted her carefully from the seat. She was lighter than he expected. Too light. Her blood was dark, almost blue, and it stained his gloves as he carried her out. Medical staff met him halfway down the corridor, shocked by what they saw. Questions flew, but Luke did not answer them. He stayed close as they moved her to the med bay. Hours passed. Luke sat outside the sealed room, staring at his hands. They were clean now, but he could still see the blood in his mind. Eventually, the med bay door slid open. The station doctor stepped out, rubbing his temples. "She's stable," the doctor said. "Barely. Whatever she flew in took serious damage. So did she." "And the baby?" Luke asked. The doctor hesitated. "Alive. That's all I can say for now." Luke nodded and leaned back against the wall. Relief washed over him, followed by a heavy sense of trouble. The alien girl woke much later. Luke was there when she did, sitting quietly near the bed. He was not sure why he stayed. Maybe because no one else would. Her eyes opened slowly. They focused on him, sharp even through pain. "My child," she said, her voice rough but clear. "Where is my child?" "Safe," Luke said. "The baby's fine." She closed her eyes and let out a shaky breath. When she looked at him again, her gaze was filled with caution. "My name is Mia," she said after a pause. "That is not my true name, but it will do." "Luke," he replied. "Luke Carter." She nodded once as if storing the information away. "You should not have helped me," Mia said softly. Luke shrugged. "Someone crashed into my station. Helping comes with the job." That earned him a faint, tired smile. Over the next days, Mia healed slowly. She spoke little, and when she did, she chose her words with care. The baby, who she called Noah, stayed close to her at all times. Station staff were uneasy but curious. No official reports were filed. Haven Drift liked to stay off the map. Luke noticed things that did not make sense. When Noah cried, nearby screens flickered. Once, a broken door panel powered on by itself when the baby was carried past. The technicians blamed old wiring. Luke was not so sure. One night, Luke was called to the med bay by an emergency ping. When he arrived, he found Mia sitting up, holding Noah close. The lights around them pulsed softly. "What's wrong?" Luke asked. Mia looked at him, fear plain on her face. "They are close." "Who?" "Everyone," she said. "Those who want him. Those who fear him." Luke followed her gaze to the baby. Noah's eyes were open now, glowing faintly with a soft blue light. As Luke watched, a console across the room lit up, responding to no input. "What is he?" Luke asked quietly. Mia's grip tightened. "He is a secret that should not exist." Outside the station, unseen by all, long-range scanners swept the darkness. Signals crossed the void, silent but fast, carrying news of something impossible. And on a forgotten mining station, a human who only wanted peace found himself standing between the galaxy and a future it was not ready to face. Luke did not sleep that night. He sat in the small maintenance room next to the med bay, listening to the soft hum of the station. Haven Drift had always felt calm to him, like a place forgotten by time. Now it felt tense, as if the walls themselves were waiting for something bad to happen. Inside the med bay, Maya rested on the narrow bed, holding Noah close. The baby was quiet, his small chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. The strange blue glow in his eyes had faded, but the machines around him still behaved oddly. Monitors flickered. Power levels shifted without reason. Nothing dangerous happened, but nothing felt normal either. Luke watched through the clear panel. He told himself he was just making sure nothing broke. That was his job, after all. But deep down, he knew that was not the real reason. Early in the morning, Claire Bennett arrived. Claire was the station's medical tech, young but skilled, with quick hands and a calm voice. She had been off shift when the crash happened, but word traveled fast on a small station. When she saw Mia and the baby, her surprise showed, but she did not panic. "I need to run more tests," Claire said quietly to Luke. "On both of them." Mia listened closely. She did not refuse, but her body remained tense. "No harm," Claire added, meeting Mia's eyes. "I promise." After a long moment, Mia nodded. The tests took hours. Claire worked carefully, scanning blood samples, reading bio patterns, and checking Noah's strange responses. Luke stayed nearby, fixing a faulty console that kept turning itself on whenever the baby moved. "This makes no sense," Claire muttered at one point. "His cells adapt too fast. Like they're learning." "Learning what?" Luke asked. Claire shook her head. "Everything." When the tests were done, Claire pulled Luke aside. "He's not just alien," she said. "And he's not just human either." Luke felt his chest tighten. You're saying, I'm saying he's both, Claire replied. A hybrid. I've read about theories, rumors, but nothing proven. Until now. Luke looked back at Noah. The baby had wrapped his tiny fingers around Maya's sleeve. He looked peaceful, harmless. That kind of thing doesn't go unnoticed, Luke said. No, Claire agreed. It gets erased. Later that day, Mia asked Luke to help her move. She was still weak, but she insisted. Luke carried what little she owned into a storage unit near the lower decks, a quiet place with few cameras and thick walls. Why here? Luke asked. Less noise, Mia said. Less eyes. She settled onto a simple cot, holding Noah close. You should leave, Mia said suddenly. Both of you. Pretend you never saw us. Luke crossed his arms. That's not how this works. Mia studied him. You do not understand what he is. Then tell me, Luke said. For a long time she was silent. The only sound was the low hum of the station and Noah's soft breathing. My people believed in balance, Mia said at last. Long before humans reached the stars, there were rules written into our laws. One of them was clear. Our kind must never mix with yours. Why? Because long ago, another species tried, Mia replied. Their child awakened things that should have stayed asleep. Whole worlds burned. Luke felt a chill. And Noah. He carries a key, Mia said. Not a weapon, not yet, but a way to control ancient machines left behind by those who came before us all. Luke ran a hand through his hair. So everyone wants him. Yes, Mia said. And some want him dead. As if the station itself reacted to her words, the lights dimmed for a moment, then returned. Noah stirred. And a nearby panel lit up with lines of data before shutting down again. Luke swore under his breath. That evening, a ship appeared on long-range sensors. It stayed far out, beyond normal traffic lanes. But it did not leave. It drifted, watching. Station control tried to contact it. There was no reply. Luke felt the tension spread through Haven Drift. Miners spoke in low voices, doors locked earlier than usual. Even the air felt heavier. Then Ben Taylor arrived. His ship docked openly, clean and marked with a neutral trade code. Ben himself was calm, well-dressed, and smiling too easily. He introduced himself as a survey agent, sent to check old stations for safety risks. Luke did not like him. Ben asked a lot of questions, about power systems, about recent activity, about any unusual visitors. Luke answered only what he had to. Ben's eyes lingered too long on the lower decks. Claire found Luke later, her face pale. He accessed restricted logs, she said. Someone gave him clearance. Who? Claire shook her head. Doesn't matter. He knows something's here. That night, Mia woke Luke with a sharp whisper. We must move, she said. Now! Alarms began to sound across the station, not the usual ones. These were deep and urgent. Unknown vessel approaching, a voice announced. Defensive measures failing. Luke grabbed his jacket and led them through back corridors. The station shook as something struck the outer hull. In the chaos, Noah began to cry. The sound echoed through the metal halls clear and strong. Lights flared, doors slid open, screens filled with symbols no one had programmed. The station's ancient core systems, long thought dead, powered on. Luke stared in shock as a sealed blast door opened on its own, clearing their path. Mia looked at Noah with a mix of fear and awe. He's reacting to the threat. Or the station is reacting to him, Luke said. They reached an old service bay. Outside, ships exchanged fire. Flashes of light painted the walls. Ben stood in their way. You're making a mistake, Ben said calmly. Hand the child over. I can protect him. From who? Luke demanded. From everyone else, Ben replied. Noah cried louder. The deck vibrated. A dormant turret powered up above Ben's head, tracking him. Ben raised his hand slowly and stepped back. "This changes things," he said softly. Luke did not answer. He pushed past, leading Mia and the baby into a small shuttle bay. As the doors closed behind them, Haven Drift shuddered again. Caught between forces it was never meant to face, and in Luke's mind, one truth settled deep and heavy. The baby was not just the target of the galaxy. He was its trigger. The shuttle lifted away from Haven Drift just as another blast rocked the station. Luke felt the vibration through the pilot's seat as he forced the engines to full power. The small craft was old, meant for short trips, not escapes under fire. Warning lights flashed, but the engines held. Behind them, the station shrank into the darkness. Flashes of light marked where ships exchanged fire. Luke did not know who was shooting at whom. He only knew that staying meant death. Mia sat strapped into the passenger seat, holding Noah close. The baby had stopped crying, but his eyes were open again, glowing faintly. The light reflected off the shuttle controls, which flickered as if unsure whether to obey Luke or the child. "Stay with me," Luke muttered to the ship, more to himself than anything else. The shuttle jumped into faster travel just as a beam of light passed through the space they had occupied seconds before. Silence followed. Only the low hum of the engines remained. For a long time, no one spoke. They dropped out of faster travel near a field of broken rock and ice, the remains of a shattered moon. Luke guided the shuttle into the shadow of one of the larger pieces. The engines powered down, and the craft drifted. "We can't keep running like this," Luke said quietly. Mia nodded. Her face looked pale, even under the dim cabin lights. "I know." "Where can we go?" Luke asked. "Somewhere off the map, somewhere safe." "There is no safe place," Mia replied. "Only places that are slower to find." Noah shifted in her arms. As he did, the shuttle's internal systems came alive. A navigation screen lit up, showing a star map Luke had never seen before. Lines appeared, linking distant systems in patterns that made no sense to him. Luke stared. "I didn't load that." "Neither did I," Mia said softly. The map shifted, then stopped. One location pulsed with a steady light. Mia's breath caught. "That is impossible." "What is it?" Luke asked. "An archive world," Mia said. "Or what is left of one. My people believed it was a myth." "What kind of archive?" "One built by the first builders," Mia replied. "The ones who came before all current species. They left machines to guide the future or end it." Luke swallowed. "And that place is calling to him." Mia nodded. "Yes." They stayed hidden for hours, watching scanners. Several ships passed through the area, searching, but none came close enough to spot them. Luke used the time to patch systems and reroute power manually, trying to limit how much the shuttle reacted to Noah. When they finally moved again, they did so slowly, following indirect paths. Luke kept their signature low, trusting instinct more than instruments. During the long journey, Mia spoke more than she had before. She told Luke about her home world, about cities built around light and water, about laws older than memory. She spoke of fear, too. Fear of humans, not because they were cruel, but because they changed things too fast. "Humans do not wait for permission," Mia said. "You see a wall, you climb it. You see a rule, you test it." Luke smiled faintly. "Sometimes we break our teeth doing it." "Sometimes," Mia agreed. "But sometimes you survive where others do not." Noah listened in his own way. When Mia spoke of fear, his glow dimmed. When Luke spoke softly to him, it brightened. Days later, they arrived. The archive world was small and dark, orbiting a dying star. There were no cities, no signs of life on the surface, only smooth black stone and deep cracks that glowed faintly with hidden power. Luke guided the shuttle down to a wide, flat area near a massive stone structure half buried in the ground. The moment the shuttle touched down, the ground trembled. Lines of light traced across the stone, forming symbols that shifted and changed. The air itself seemed to hum. "It knows," Mia whispered. "It knows he is here." The doors of the structure opened without sound. Inside, the space was vast. Tall pillars rose into darkness. The floor was smooth, warm beneath their feet. As they stepped forward, shapes formed from light. Not solid beings, but echoes. A voice filled the chamber, calm and deep. "Key recognized," it said. "Guardian presence detected." Luke froze. "Guardian." The light shifted, focusing on him. "Human," the voice continued. "Pattern matches tolerance profile." Mia looked at Luke in shock. "What does that mean?" Before Luke could answer, the chamber changed again. Images filled the air, stars forming, worlds burning, species rising and falling. "We were many," the voice said. "We destroyed ourselves. We left systems to prevent the same fate." The image shifted to show hybrids, beings like Noah. "Keys were made," the voice continued, "but fear led to erasure. Balance was lost." Noah stirred in Mia's arms. The light around him grew brighter. "Key active," the voice said. "Decision point reached." Suddenly, alarms echoed from outside. Luke turned. "We're not alone." Ships dropped out of faster travel above the planet. Human designs, alien ones, too many. "They followed us," Mia said, despair in her voice. The structure reacted. Energy rippled through the stone. The chamber sealed itself. "External conflict detected," the voice said. "Guardian required." Luke felt a pressure in his chest, not pain, but weight, responsibility. "Why me?" he asked. "Humans adapt," the voice replied. "Humans protect what they choose to value." Outside, weapons fired. The planet shook as blasts struck its surface. Noah cried out, a sharp, clear sound that echoed through the chamber. The images changed. Instead of weapons, they showed shields. Instead of destruction, barriers forming between ships. "Key intent unclear," the voice said. "Guardian guidance needed." Luke stepped forward. "No weapons," he said firmly. "No killing. Protect them. All of them." The light paused. Then it shifted. Outside, the attacking ships found their weapons dead. Systems shut down. Power drained. They drifted, helpless but alive. Silence spread across space. Inside the chamber, the pressure eased. "Directive accepted," the voice said. "Conflict neutralized." Mia sank to her knees, tears running down her face. "He didn't end worlds," she whispered. "He saved them." Luke looked at Noah, at the small child who had almost torn the galaxy apart just by existing. "This isn't over," Luke said quietly. The voice answered him. "No," it said. "This is the beginning." Far above the dark world, ships waited in stunned silence, their crews realizing something had changed forever. And in the heart of an ancient machine, a human, an alien girl, and a baby stood at the center of a future no one had planned, but one they might finally survive. The silence after the battle felt heavy. Outside the archive world, the disabled ships drifted like broken toys. No weapons fired. No engines burned. Space itself seemed to hold its breath. Inside the ancient structure, Luke stood still, his hands shaking slightly. He had not moved them, yet entire fleets had been stopped. The power of it pressed on his thoughts like a deep ocean. Mia held Noah close. The baby had gone quiet again, his eyes no longer glowing. He rested his head against her chest, unaware of what he had done. "They will not accept this," Mia said softly. "They will fear it." "They already do," Luke replied. The voice returned, calm as before. "External forces will recover limited function in time. Complete shutdown is temporary." Conflict will resume unless resolution is achieved. Luke frowned. What kind of resolution? Clarity, the voice said. Choice made visible. Mia looked up. You want us to show them? Yes, the voice replied. The key and the guardian must be known. Luke felt his stomach tighten. That makes us targets. That makes you truth, the voice answered. The structure shifted again. Walls of light formed, showing images of the ships outside. Faces appeared, human and alien commanders staring at dead controls and silent screens. A channel opened. Voices flooded the chamber, confused, angry, afraid. Who did this? Identify yourself. Weapons are down. Luke stepped forward before he could talk himself out of it. This is Luke Carter, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber and across space. I'm human, and I didn't attack you. The voices quieted, replaced by tense silence. Mia joined him, holding Noah where all could see. This child is the reason you are here, she said, but he is not your enemy. A human commander appeared on the display, his face tight with suspicion. That baby shut down a fleet. No, Luke said. He stopped a war. Murmurs spread through the channel. This world, Luke continued, holds old systems, powerful ones. They can end everything or protect it. The choice isn't in the machines, it's in us. An alien leader leaned forward, eyes narrow. You expect us to trust a human and a forbidden child? Luke met the gaze without backing down. I expect you to look at your ships. You're alive. No one fired the final shot. That's not an attack. That's restraint. Silence followed again. The voice spoke, now audible to all. Historical record confirms. Destruction was prevented by Guardian directive. Panic rippled through the channel. What is a Guardian? A stabilizing factor, the voice replied. Selected species demonstrating adaptive protection behavior. All eyes turned back to Luke. He felt suddenly small. I didn't ask for this. You acted, the voice said. That is enough. Hours passed as talks continued. Threats turned into demands. Demands turned into questions. Slowly, the anger cooled, replaced by something else. Fear mixed with hope. Some ships withdrew, unwilling to stay near something they could not control. Others stayed, watching, listening. A few tried to restart weapons. Each time, the systems gently shut them down again. No explosions, no warnings, just refusal. It's like it's teaching them, Luke said quietly to Mia. Or testing them, she replied. Inside the structure, the archive revealed more. Images of the first builders showed beings who had burned themselves out with endless war. They had created the keys not to rule, but to force pauses. Moments where violence could not continue and choices had to be made without weapons. Why hybrids? Luke asked the voice. Bridges, it answered. Beings who carry more than one perspective. Neither side alone could hold the key without abuse. Mia looked down at Noah. So he was born to be a lock. And a door, the voice replied. Not all were willing to listen. A small group of ships broke formation and attempted to flee, sending encrypted signals as they went. Luke felt the archive respond, reaching outward. No, Luke said sharply. Let them go. The light paused. Directive revised, the voice said. Observation only. Mia gave Luke a grateful look. You are teaching it too. Time blurred. Sleep came in short bursts. Food was simple and shared. Luke noticed something strange. When humans and aliens sat together, the archive light stayed soft. When arguments flared, the light sharpened, brighter, colder. It reacted to emotion. Claire's voice suddenly came through the channel. Luke, she said, breathless. We found a way in. You're not alone anymore. Relief washed over him. Claire, her image appeared, along with several others from Haven Drift. Engineers, medics, people who had lived quiet lives and been pulled into something vast. You disappeared, Claire said. We followed every trace. Ben Taylor appeared behind her, restrained but alive. Luke stiffened. Him too. He surrendered, Claire said. Said he wanted to see how this ended. Ben met Luke's eyes. There was no smile this time, only awe. You changed the rules, Ben said. No one knows how to play now. Good, Luke replied. As days passed, a fragile calm spread. Trade ships were allowed limited movement. Weapons remained locked. Talks turned toward long-term plans. Some leaders argued the archive should be destroyed. The archive responded with a simple message. Destruction will restore unrestricted conflict. The message was not a threat, just a fact. Mia grew stronger. Noah grew curious. He reached for light, for moving images, for voices. The archive adjusted around him, gentle and careful. Luke watched the baby and felt the weight of the future settle deeper. One quiet cycle, Mia sat beside him at the edge of the chamber. I was taught to fear humans, she said. To believe you would always take. Luke looked at his hands. We do, sometimes. But you also give, Mia said, even when it costs you. We're stubborn like that. She smiled faintly. Outside, the galaxy waited, not in peace, but in pause. And sometimes, Luke thought, a pause was enough to change everything. Luke sat quietly in the center of the chamber, watching Noah explore. The baby reached for the soft glow of the archive walls, his small fingers brushing against the light. The energy rippled gently, responding to him, wrapping around him without harm. Mia watched closely, her face a mix of relief and fear. She had come to trust Luke, though it had taken every ounce of courage she had. Together, they had survived something most could not imagine. He's learning, Mia said softly. Even without trying, he understands. Luke nodded. He's teaching them too. He gestured to the soft, pulsing walls. The machines were alive in a way he had never seen, alive but patient, waiting for guidance from the smallest being in the room. Hours passed. The outside ships had calmed, some remaining in orbit as observers. No one dared fire, though many whispered plans to regain control. The archive responded to Noah's presence, gently redirecting potential threats without causing harm. Luke had never felt more relieved or more responsible in his life. We need a plan, Luke said finally. We can't stay here forever. Mia's eyes darkened. If we leave, they will come for him. All of them. Humans, aliens, everyone who fears what he can do. So we don't leave, Luke said. We make a stand where we can protect him and teach them to trust him. Mia considered this. Her people had always believed in isolation. Survival often meant hiding, but she could see the truth in Luke's words. The baby, Noah, had changed everything already. Hiding would not keep them safe forever. Claire appeared in the chamber soon after, accompanied by a few engineers and medics from Haven Drift. She carried data pads and equipment. We've been tracking patterns, she said. There's a way to make the archive stable for long-term guidance. It will respond only to Noah, and anyone else would need his permission to access it. Luke looked at her in surprise. You mean he can control it, but safely? Exactly, Claire said. He doesn't need to understand fully. The archive adapts to him. It listens, but it won't let anyone use it for war. Mia looked down at Noah, smiling faintly. He's more than a key. He's a guardian. Luke smiled, too. The galaxy's smallest hero. For the next cycles, they worked together. Engineers stabilized the archive systems. Claire ran tests, ensuring Noah's presence kept the machines balanced. Mia shared knowledge about the first builders, teaching Luke and the others how to interpret the strange light and symbols. Luke learned quickly, guided by instinct and careful observation. Noah, as always, watched, reaching and laughing at the glowing patterns, his joy calming the surrounding energy. Then came the first real test. A fleet of alien ships appeared at the edge of the system. Aggressive, armed, and impatient. Their commanders demanded the key. They wanted control of the archive. Threats were broadcast across the void. The galaxy had not forgotten the power that had just appeared. Luke, Mia, and Claire prepared. They did not hide. Instead, they guided Noah to the central dais of the archive. The baby's hands rested on the glowing surface, his eyes wide but steady. The machines hummed in response, brightening and pulsing with energy. "Listen," Luke whispered. "No one attacks. No one dies. Understand him." The fleet tried to fire. Energy beams arced toward the planet. Shields flared briefly, but then nothing happened. Their weapons shut down, systems froze in mid-operation. Panic spread through the command channels. Luke stepped forward and spoke over the open communication line. "This child does not belong to anyone. He will not be used as a weapon. If you want the archive, you must come in peace." Silence followed. Then a voice cracked through, gruff and angry. "You cannot control power like this. We are not stopping." "Try me," Luke said, his voice firm, "or learn the hard way." For long moments, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the fleet powered down entirely, not destroyed, not harmed, just prevented from attacking. Sensors showed the ships drifting, empty of aggression. Crews stared at controls that no longer obeyed them. Fear replaced rage. Mia squeezed Noah's hand. "He did it," she whispered. "He didn't just stop them," Luke said. "He taught them." The archive pulsed gently, showing images of past civilizations destroyed by misuse of power. The lesson was clear. Restraint saved lives. Noah's presence radiated understanding without words. Days later, ambassadors from human and alien governments arrived. They came cautiously, afraid of the baby's abilities, but curious. Luke, Mia, and Claire met with them inside the archive. Noah was present but quiet, observing the visitors. The archive's light softened, reacting to the calm energy around him. "He is not a weapon," Luke said to the gathered leaders. "He is a protector. The archive listens to him. Anyone who tries to force it will fail. Your fleets, your armies, your technology. They are useless here if you act with violence." A human ambassador frowned. "And if we need defense, if another threat comes?" "You defend life," Mia said. "Not kill for power. The archive can guide you. Noah does not need to know everything, but he can stop you from making mistakes." The leaders debated, argued, and whispered. Luke watched, understanding slowly dawning on them. They had never faced power like this, power that refused to harm, that demanded wisdom instead of obedience. Weeks passed, the archive stabilized, fleets returned to home systems, their leaders wary but alive. Trade resumed under careful observation. The galaxy had learned a pause had value. The baby, Noah, had taught restraint. Luke, Mia, and Claire worked together daily, maintaining the balance. Noah grew stronger, curious, and joyful. He laughed at lights and touched walls, learning and teaching at once. The trio formed a small family of choice, bound not by law, but by trust and courage. One quiet cycle. Luke stood on the observation deck of the archive. He watched the stars, thinking of the galaxy that had almost destroyed itself. Mia approached him quietly, holding Noah. The baby reached for Luke's hand, and Luke took it, smiling. "We did it," Mia said softly. "We stopped them, for now." "We changed something," Luke replied. "We didn't just survive, we showed them another way." Mia leaned against him. "Humans, aliens, and even the first builders. Maybe it's possible to protect life instead of destroy it." Luke nodded. "Maybe, as long as we keep trying." The baby cooed, glowing softly in their arms. The archive pulsed in quiet harmony with him. Outside, The galaxy waited, uncertain but alive. The future was no longer just a battlefield. It was a choice. And Luke, Mia, and Noah stood together, small in the vastness of space, yet carrying a light that could reshape worlds. They did not know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time, they were ready to meet it. The baby had not only survived, he had given the galaxy a chance to learn, and humanity a new name. Protectors of the future.